Hi guys, welcome back to another video. What do we have today? We have a Fiat Ducato van that I suppose in some factory they cut it to date and turn it into one of those. I think it could be a HYMER, would that be it? I think it could be a basis. I'm looking at a mirror there, but I will have a look in a second. I think she could be a HYMER. Can't see it there. I can see his dirty sheets on my shed. Problem is, check engine light on, and believe some guys have been looking at this previously for the owner and didn't bring it to a head, and this thing is still coming on. So where are we at this point in time? I plugged in a scan tool. I've just gone a code scan, and what I'm looking at here is P2454 differential pressure sensor signal pressure delta offset present 1. P1205 particle filter pressure particle filter pressure dash present 5, and then I have 2452 differential pressure sensor intermittent 1. Okay. Don't know if I'm bothered about that. Morelli body computer U0019B CAN line wiring fault. Don't know. Hopefully this is just straightforward, fast and easy. So from where I'm standing right now in engine management, so diesel injection here, in engine management, I am going to, maybe I shouldn't be talking about going forward. I've done a code scan, so I scanned every module that's in it first, okay? And then at this point I'm going to enter into our engine management. We'll look at a little bit of live data. We're going to have a little fast look at, I might search pressures. Search for pressure. Differential pressure. Do we need any other ones? Target, boost pressure, blah, blah, blah. Don't really mind about them. So we're only maybe just focus on that little one. We might go and give it a graph. Maybe we should have went for show, and I should put it, it's a very kind of a smallish graph, and we'll go full screen. Okay, it's full screen. So look, right here we have 0. If it was in millibar, I don't know, I didn't look. We have no change whatsoever. What was it? What was I looking at? Yeah, millibar. Okay, so in millibar we have no change whatsoever in here. I'm going to have to get in, have a little fast look and see where this thing even is. I do know I can pull the bonnet from there. Up. Say hello, Marvin. She's a HYMER. This thing. Oh, okay, right. Crikey. Our engine is somewhere in there. Okay, I'm going to put a headlight on me, have a little fast look, see where I can find, you know, a couple of bits and pieces. Where even is the DPF? Where is the pressure sensor? I don't know at this point in time. So we'll go in, we'll do a little bit of looking, we'll try and figure out what the heck is going on here. I'll find or locate the pressure sensors and do a little bit of testing in there and to see what's happening. At this point, lads, what I've discovered anyway is I'm not going to be heading in from up the front. My exhaust is running along down at the bottom, and my exhaust pressure sensor is located down there. What I've done, and it's very basic so far, I've actually had my scan tool floating around with me while I was in here. I don't have the facilities to lift this thing up in the air, so we're working from the ground at this point in time. I have a Mitty back, I have my scan tool. Maybe I should have the car not running, because if I had the car not running, maybe it would be quieter. But anyway, it is running at this point in time. So the location, where we're at, all in there. Make sure you get a jack stand if you're going to be in here, lads. This is all going to make for bad camera work, or maybe awkwardness, dare I say. What I've seen so far is there is my exhaust differential pressure sensor. I've just leaned in, located, pulled off the pipes, and right now I've only just felt, have I some little bit of pressure out of my pipes here? And I have. This pipe here, I have a nice little blow out of it. Not blocked by any means at all, as in the DPF, but I do have a little puff there, but yet I see no pressure on my live data. Also, very hard to see there now, but that's an FAE sensor that it looks like someone has replaced. So what I do know is I do know that my pipes running in from the DPF to the pressure sensor are not blocked, just because I feel a little bit of pressure. So what's going on here? Why? And there is a DPF in there. It looks very genuine. Everything looks genuine, I have to say, in here, except for that component. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to come in, I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure. So this is the after DPF pipe, and this is the before. So here's where I should be looking at the pressure, or seeing a pressure reading. I'm going to apply some pressure in there and see does our differential pressure readings on our scan tool change. So the reason I brought my MITIVAC was to do that. I'm going to have to stop, I'd say, in order to fish in this. Maybe not, maybe it looks easy. I can only apologise about the maybe camera work at this stage, if it's going to be bad when I'm wedged in here. So, yeah, I am kind of wedged in here. So, MITIVAC in hand. Am I creating pressure or pulling a vacuum? Someone must have been doing something with my MITIVAC which had water in it. Something wrong here. Okay, I'm going to stop for a moment, lads. It's too awkward to hold the camera and do this in one shot. The best I can catch at this stage, guys, is pressure reading flat 0. Okay, differential pressure sensor. In here on my MITIVAC, I have, if you can catch that, 50 kPa. My headlight might be a bad job. I have about 50 kPa in there. kPa is a red bit on the inside, and I've no change here. So we'll leave off our pressure gone. Going to apply pressure again. Up to around 50 kPa. No change on my readings at all here. We could have something wrong with that sensor. Is it just cheap or dodgy? Is it cheaper or dodgy or crap? Don't know, but we're going to verify our powers on the ground first. So I'm going to be looking for, get up my talk. All, or at least most sensors on a car are going to run on 5 volts. I've said this on numerous occasions. So most sensors are going to have 3 wires. For an individual sensor, like a map sensor or a pressure sensor or whatever it may be, 3 wires. 5 volts, a ground, and then a signal. The signal is either going to be pull up or pull down. So pull up would be, if when the component is disconnected, it hangs at a low voltage, and then the sensor pulls that up to give it a reading of pressure. Or pull down is going to be when it's disconnected, it goes high, and then the sensor with 3 wires power and ground pulls it down the way to give it or get it to a certain voltage, which will show pressure. There's something strange going on here. I might get maybe a power probe. For me is sometimes the easiest. Connect it onto a battery power and ground up here, run it down and have a look at our voltages. We can do a load test then thereafter, okay? We'll get a power probe and see where we're at. I have my power probe sitting in here just underneath the camper. I think we're after finding something, but due to, I suppose, the awkwardness of getting in here, in case my camera work is bad, again, just kind of get a bit of wiggle room, as the man would call it. All right, we're going to try and squeeze in. It'd be lovely, wouldn't it, if we could, yeah, put this thing up in the air. So, I have key on, engine off. So I've 3 wires in here. This is going to be really, really crappy, I suppose. Yeah, this is bad testing, and I'm wedged. We're going to wedge all this stuff for you to see it. If I could get it all in the one shot, it would be great. I'm not happy with my voltages up here, guys. So the bit that's maybe getting kind of, wouldn't say funny, or what I'm seeing that I'm not happy with, is in theory, this is really, really bad, lads. I'm sorry. I should have probably got myself set up. Maybe I will stop. I will stop and I'll get myself set up. The best shot I can get you of what I'm trying to record, guys, is that. So, if you can see that, 4.6 volts, that's me on the very, very top wire. If I come into the middle one, that's a good ground. Well, so far, we didn't load test it. And then on the bottom one, we have, if you can see that, it kind of 4.9 volts. Are you catching that, guys? So there's 4.9, which should be our good 5 volt reference. Ground, which should be a good ground. We might load test it there in 1 second with a test light. And then we have our, I'm hoping and thinking that the top one is the signal wire. We might have to look at a wiring diagram just to verify this. But in theory, we have, our power, our ground, and a signal of some sort. I might just disconnect that. I might just try and see what have we got when we're disconnected. Okay, so the bottom wire, which we had 4.9 and we still have 4.9. We still have ground in the middle. And we've 1.7 on what we're classing as a signal wire now. So that was 4.6 a moment ago. I might go and just have a look at pressures. And I would have expected if I had 0, I would have expected to see something like 0.5 of a volt on my signal wire. So the power, if we load test in a minute, good. Ground, if we load test that in a minute, good. And I would have liked to see something like, something like 0.5 of a volt on the signal wire. But I'm going to leave it disconnected. I'm going to go out and have a look at our scan tool, which is again a little bit topsy-turvy. Weird. Okay, so we'll bring in this with us and we're going to reconnect the I'll leave that in there and hope that my jack doesn't drop and squash my scan tool. We're looking back up here if we can see where my hand is. Okay, back on. No change. I'll leave you on that and I'm going to disconnect it again. Okay, disconnected. Once again, no change. I think we'll definitely have to load test these things and maybe get a signal generator or some kind of a sensor somewhere just to plug in to see can we, change live data here, because it is a little bit weirdy what's going on there. So we're going to load test them first and see where we go. I've just cleared faults to see would that be bothering anything here, and by clearing faults we're just gone to a straight 1000 millibar. Okay, let's bring this thing in with us. We're going to disconnect. Would that actually, maybe I should be looking at my volts, my voltage readings in here. Okay, I'm going to disconnect my sensor up here. Okay. So we've just dropped to 0. And if we reconnect it again, okay, once the fault is erased, okay, we're back to something, or back to 1000 millibar again. So boom, we're going straight back up here. Sorry about the glare. We're going straight back to 1000 millibar. This is just a band jack sensor, isn't it? We try and get some, either a signal generator, or I might have a route. I keep a few pressure sensors around there. I might just have a look and see if I have something that might plug in and give me some kind of a different reading than this. So at this point in time, we have 1000 millibar plugged in. Should be big fat, in theory, 0 because the car is not running, and it's a differential pressure sensor. So it's only measuring the difference between the before pipe and the after pipe on the diesel particulate filter. So plugged in now, 1000 millibar once the faults were cleared. Just actually might go back in and just, by disconnecting it, what faults did we create? Differential pressure sensor 1 intermittent. Okay, yeah, there is something kind of strange going on here. I don't know, had we that fault code before? We didn't have that before. Something odd here, and the definite is that our pressure readings at 1000 millibar is just crackers. So we're going to get a pressure sensor in here. I was going to show you these pressures again just for you to reference, but I don't think you really need to see that, do you? We'll go with that, and we'll show selected, and we'll just do that. And again, look, graph format, so we can see the number there. We have 1000 now, and will we... Nah, you don't need me to verify again. I'm going to disconnect it again and drop to 0 once more. Disconnected, and boom, back down to the 0. I'll have a look and see if I can find a sensor that might plug in. I found an old pressure sensor off a Volkswagen of some sort that was similar. It did plug in. So it's a different breed of a sensor altogether, but we are getting 356 millibar live reading at this point in time. Let's bring in this again, or once again with us. I'll show you what my setup is in here. So it's just purely for setup reasons, guys, that I'm not, bringing in stuff. It's too bloody awkward in here. I can't even turn. Look, there's an old pressure sensor of some sort. Different beast of a yoke altogether, but it did plug into this thing. So I am now going to, if I can, with one hand again, try and undo that lock and tab. Come on. It's actually tight. Could have done with something to lift it up. And I could do it for 2 hands here, but no, I don't. Okay, I'm gonna undo the lock and tab with my second hand. I need to stop it flopping around. I can't lift that tab without my second hand. Okay, that's a real pain in the bottom to get off, guys. Just on my scan tool, when I disconnected it, we can see it actually, I disconnected it, it dropped to 0. And then I reconnected it to see could I get it in a position where I could pull it in and out, but I can't. So now I disconnected it. I reconnected it, and it has done that. Gone back up to the 356 live reading there. I'm going to go to resume. So we're running at 0 here. That's me disconnected. Okay. This crappy camera work, I get that. I'm going to try and show you once again of me putting this in with the one hand. And I can disconnect it in my own time. So we're still at 0 up here. I didn't hear it click yet, and it's actually a hard one to get in, but look there, we're going back to 356. So in theory, the sensors are working. I'm kind of happy enough to call it at this time of the evening that we're going to order one of those sensors, and we'll see where we're at tomorrow. Just thought I better maybe show or do a load test before I go and do any kind of ordering. The amount of space here is very, very limited, guys. Okay, so I have 3 back probing pins in there. I have my test light in on my 4.9 volt reference here, and I'm going to just give it a good ground. There we go. Little test light lighting. We carried the 4.9 volts. We're going to do the same, and we'll actually load test our ground, which is in there. If we load test that, we should have my test light lighting, and I'm not. And everything's falling kibosh. Right, you're going to have to trust me on that. Our 5 volt reference is good, and I'll try and show you the good ground in a second. Back again. So I'm back probing to 4.9 volt wire, the 5 volt reference, here with my end of my test light. And now I'm going to just piggyback into my ground there, and my test light is lighting, and I'm holding 0 volts there and carrying a good ground. So I'm kind of happy enough. I might disconnect this and just see, can I manipulate my voltage up and down on my scan tool just to prove my signal wire intact. Whether a fault code being created is going to bother or not, I don't know, but we'll go and try that one last. This is my very last test, guys. I have my test light on, or piggybacked off my 4.9 volts. I have my little probe on my signal wire, disconnected now, I'm hanging at 356. But if I run my test light up here, and it would be nice to get it all in shot, but if I change that voltage with this thing, can't get it. I look at my graph, and I think then the fault code decides to trigger, which does weird stuff and makes it drop to 0, and then it pulls back up. I'm thinking I'm going to go and get one of these sensors anyway. I'm happy enough, my powers are good, my grounds are good. Signal wire, little bit of a debate in my head. Crappy sensor, I believe, is condemned because I saw no change in it whatsoever. So I'm just going to condemn the sensor right now, unless the poo hits the fan and I have to change my mind on a wiring related problem, which I don't believe so. Right now, I'm condemning that. That's enough for me right now to pull the plug, call it a sensor, and get a sensor. Crappy sensor, just not doing its job. Guys, I stayed in there for another 10 or 15 minutes messing around with wiring and see had I don't know, any visual issues or whatever it may be. The voltage was doing kind of weird cracker stuff. Potentially maybe that stupid sensor is totally wrong. Oh, jeez, so much for the audio I get in the bank. Yeah, after doing a couple of minutes in there, I kind of realised, and I thought to myself, I said, I ain't getting too bloody old for that crap. Wedged in upside down there underneath that stupid yoke. Yeah, gave it up. We're going to go for a sensor. Everything makes kind of logical sense to me, but to catch it all on camera is kind of stupid because I'm like, I'm like 40 coats in there, whoever 40 coats is. But yeah, I'm going to go for a sensor. Have a part number off it. I think it was one FAE 16122. I'm going to try and do a cross-reference, going to try and find one. If I put the reg number into anything, it's not coming up with a vehicle. So I can't find a pressure sensor right now, but I'm pulling the plug. I have enough of being stuck upside down and turning myself inside out. Gone. Let's get a sensor and see what happens. Weird though, because when I was plugging it in, once the fault code wasn't triggered, I had 4.1 volts coming out of that sensor, which in theory, on the signal wire, which in theory was giving me 956 millibar. So that's fairly high. That's where I kind of be looking at, okay, it's high pressure, but might not be triggering a fault. But in my mindset, I was pulling and jiggering and tapping and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, gone, boom, 1000 millibar. That's when I had the fault codes back. So disconnect it, get a fault code. On, and once it gets really high, I get a fault code, which in theory was making everyone go kibosh. So I'm getting the sensor, we're going to put it in tomorrow and we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed I get it early in the morning, okay? But I'm gone too old for this crap. You'll all probably get this same feeling at times. I'm pulling the plug, it's probably 7 now. I'm going home, I have enough of this shite. We are back in our Fiat Ducato or HYMER camper van or whatever it's going to be called. It's a new day, it's the evening of the new day, so it's nearly the end of the new day. New day for ye, old day for me. We have this Hoffer pressure sensor. I tried the dealers and the dealers said they wouldn't have one for 3 or 4, maybe even 5 days. So I said I'm going to take a chance on this to prove to myself that it's either right, either wrong, or whatever it may be. I don't actually see, turn on my headlight, I don't see many or much writing on this thing, to be honest with you. But on the back I do see Italy with a grind of something in there. And sometimes what I do notice is if you get an OE item, they can sometimes grind off, you know, like a Mazda, Mercedes, a Volkswagen name. So there's some kind of grinding happened just there. So I don't know if that would have said Morelli or something, but I can't make it out. It looks like there's an L at the end of it. Anyway, doesn't matter, really. For now, I said I didn't want FAE. That was the only brand I didn't want, wasn't putting in it. Talking to the customer, and the owner said he didn't even, or wasn't aware that there was a pressure sensor put on it, but he did have some kind of an ailment with a check engine light in France. It came from France back after a chap had done a code scan and said, drive on home, enjoy your holidays. When he got back, he gave the car to the van thingamajiggy, camper van, to another garage. And they looked at it, and all of a sudden, there was some kind of topsy-turvy nature of something went on, and now it's here with me. So it might not be done just before I got it, but code scan, we have all of these pressure sensor related faults back, probably from me disconnecting, you know, and pulling up, pulling down with my test light, etc. I'm going to give a half hour exhaust gas pressure sensor. That enough? 7472260. And again, as I said there, it said to me that is OE derived. So I said, okay, give me the dearest one you can get. And this was the dearest one I can get. I'm going to fit this thing. I'm going to clear our faults, see where we end up. It's going to be kind of, I wouldn't say a rush job, but I'm not too bothered at 7:30 on a Friday evening. I'm not too bothered about doing too much messing under there. So haven't even pulled in. I'm going to jump down the ground, get in, get this thing hanging in place, see if I got pressures and see what's happening, because we could get nothing, only 0, 350 or 1000. And I did see a 995 or something. That could have only been like a discrepancy. I'm thinking that the 1.7 volts I was seeing in there was a biased voltage that's on the line, rather than it being a weird pull up or pull down. That I'm just seeing a little bit of a biased voltage. Couldn't really make too much sense the way I was stuck in there last night. It was all, yeah, tight. And as I said, I'm getting too old for that crap. But we're going to get this thing fitted, see where we end up. Pressure sensor removed. I took it out because I'm going to change the pipe so I don't get them mixed up or woggled up. Once it's then on the right way around, we're going to go back in. Only because I saw Jimmy Riley talking about one of these kind of clips. I call them quick release clips or whatever the heck they are. This morning, does it make me say to you, just to show you, it is that type. The pliers a little bit oily, a little bit dirty, but it is the real. They are right easy clips to use, but you do have to have the right in theory pliers for it. Dead easy, don't know part numbers or any of that crack. I don't even know the brand of it. It's just oily from my hands. But that's the little thing, and I just pop them open with a screwdriver. That's my way of doing it. Whether it's right, wrong, that's just what I do. New pressure sensor bolted into place. Little relevant bits and pieces put on there. Clips on, pipes on. Maybe I'm being foolhardy, but I don't feel like being in here any longer, lying down on the ground. Sorry about the breeze. I'm just going to get this thing up, run it, start it, drive it, and see where we end up. Can we see pressures? Because we could see no pressures before. Just what are we seeing? I did lie there, and you know what I thought to myself is, could there be a variable of one of those hoses being slightly blocked internally? I know the steel pipes weren't, but could the actual rubber hose? I never blew through them, so fingers crossed I don't have any variable there. Back in wagon after fitting our pressure sensor, and we're just going to do a little fast look. So we're going to go for quicker aids. As we said, 4Ds, we're not concerned about that one right now, but 4Ds I want to get rid of. Quicker aids and just see what happens. They would go momentarily before, but the minute it started they would be back. So will we weirdly go and do that? So I just started the wagon. Oh, right, gone, press the wrong button. Is that because I'm running and I'm doing code scan? Could be. What I have seen on this occasion, what I haven't seen before, is something, it seemed to be slow to take the throttle response. I thought it was a momentary ago because that step pops out and gives me a beep. It didn't take the throttle, and I just, I don't know whether that's a variable here or what. Live data, maybe it just needs the dust to settle. And we're looking for pressure. Oh, come on. Pressure. I think we're down here. Ooh. Oh. By cheekers, creakers, that's small, isn't it? Now we have pressure there, but I have to say that is very, very small. maybe we're not done yet, guys. I'm going to have to get underneath. I don't want to, but I'm going to have to get underneath to put a MIDI vac on the line to try and see, have I true readings? Look. So yes, there's pressure there, but by gosh, that's really, really small. Okay guys, for verification purposes, manometer in place, fluctuating between 0.9 and 10. I'm going to take off that to give me myself a bit of space. MIDI vac in place, no pressure in yet. I actually had it on vacuum here, sorry. Okay. We have very small pressure in there. It's just a really clean DPF, guys. Get it out for a drive. Okay guys, I think I'm done. I have a couple of 5-6 miles done at this stage. Reading up to about 50-60 millibar. This is a left-hand drive beast with the roof flopping around the place. I don't know what the heck that is, a floating bed that maybe comes down or something, but it's freaky when the thing starts doing that crack. Anyway, neither here or there. I do believe and think this thing is done. I'm going to wait till I get down, just down the road here, to pull in and potentially stop. So yeah, if my camera work is bad while I'm driving now, bear with me for a moment, but I'm not going to stop up. We are here in Kennedy's Garage. We are part of the DPF Doctor Network, okay? And the DPF Doctor Network is Darren Darling's, I suppose, what would you call it? Baby? Brainchild, or whatever you want to call it. Darren Darling is as sound as you get. Really like Darren, good guy. We don't cross each other's paths too often. We don't need to. But when you do cross each other's paths, we actually get on really, really well. So I do like Darren. Enjoyed a few pints in the auto mechanic with him there recently. But there's a chap, so only just talking about this being DPF related. There's a chap in, this would be a whole lot better video also if I could get this thing up in the air and get a bit of room, but it was so tight and messy, probably a bit messy video. But a chap in the DPF Doctor Network, Stephen Capacey, and he unfortunately passed away only a week or so ago. And I have to say, Stephen was a lovely guy. Some post he was put up was really good. He was an intelligent man. Very sad passing. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, not what you're probably watching for. But yes, we are part of the DPF Doctor Network. I don't put up a huge amount of DPF related videos. This isn't really a DPF related video. It is in a sense, but it's to do with a pressure sensor. In theory, I thought I had a voltage problem first. But then when I had my, everything was tight, when I had my 4.9, without looking at a wiring diagram, I knew that was my 5 volt reference. When I had my good ground, I knew that was my good ground. So powers and grounds were accounted for. My reference, I would have expected it to either be pull up or pull down, i.e. 0 volts or 5 volts, but I didn't have that. I had 1.7. So a little bit, I wouldn't say strange, but you know when you don't come across these things all the time, you're like, straight away you think it's a problem, but it's not a problem. So the sensor was, and Darren did say one day, it's kind of like a Ford Focus style, you know, one that sits by the battery, and in Darren's words were they're dog shite. So maybe it's the same internals and maybe it's the same dog shite. I don't know. Anyway, maybe it's the branding, maybe it's whatever. But just because it's new doesn't mean it's good or perfect. Oh gosh, it has to be something else. It in theory is just a sensor on this one. We are seeing our precious DPF as clean as whistle. There is now only 75,000 kilometers on that. So that wouldn't even be 50,000 miles. And probably most of them done driving to France or wherever if you're on the wrong side of the car. So in theory, big long journeys, ideal conditions for passive regenerations, etc. But that's kind of it, lads, for this one. Hope you got something for it. I hope it's somewhat entertaining, if nothing else, or at least you saw me struggling and giving out about being wedged underneath the bottom of the car. But lads, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next cartoon. Peter Kennedy signing out. See you later, boys, and thanks for watching.